share very briefly the types of marriages which are recognized under the laws in Kenya. There are 5 of them. One is the Christian marriage. The Christian marriage, many Christian or all of you can relate with, is the one that is celebrated in church by a church minister. It depends on what you call them in your church, the pastor, the bishop, the reverend. What is important is that this person must be authorized by the registrar of marriages to conduct a marriage. So it's not just any person who can say they want to conduct a marriage. They must be authorized. After the ceremony, a marriage certificate is usually signed and a copy submitted to the registrar of marriage. So of importance to note is that Christian marriages are strictly monogamous. It means once you enter into that marriage, you cannot marry a second wife, no matter the circumstances, unless you first terminate or dissolve that marriage. The second type of marriage is the civil marriage. This is a marriage that is celebrated in the registrar's office, and what happens is that if you want to celebrate a marriage in the registrar's office, you will issue a notice to the registrar. He will publish the intention to get married so that any person who may have an objection may raise the objection. If no objection is raised, the registrar will issue what we call a certificate of no impediment to marry. You will be given a date when you can come with your witnesses. The ceremony will take place and a certificate will be issued. Again, please note, civil marriages are strictly monogamous. Just like Christian marriages, you enter into a civil marriage, you cannot marry a second wife. The third marriage is the Islamic marriages. These are marriages which take place between parties who profess the Islamic faith. Just like customary marriages, these marriages are polygamous or potentially polygamous, which means that they are allowed to marry more than one wife, and it's not restricted in the Islamic marriage. Again, all that is required is the celebration to take place as per the celebration rules in the Islamic faith, and a certificate of marriage must be issued and submitted to the registrar of marriages. The fourth type of marriage is the Hindu marriage. Again, celebrated by people who profess the Hindu religion. They celebrate according to their ceremonies, and a marriage certificate will be issued and submitted to the registrar of marriages. Just like Christian marriage, Hindu marriages are strictly monogamous. They don't marry second wives unless they first dissolve the first marriage. Finally, we have the customary marriage, where there's a lot of issues, and many of you have reached out to me to find out, is my customary marriage valid? Is it recognized under the law? What would happen in case of inheritance issues? Am I recognized as a wife or a husband? So of importance to note is that before the current Marriage Act was enacted, it was not mandatory to register customary marriages. All you needed is to go through the ceremonies, mostly the dowry payment ceremonies. Each community has their rules or conditions on payment of dowries. Some it's animals, others it's money, whichever way the community celebrate the marriage. But now, registration of customary marriages is mandatory. And what informed this move? Because we used to have very many cases where, especially women, they would struggle to prove that they were wives. You would find that, especially in cases of inheritance, some family members would, out of malice or selfishness, would purport that so-and-so was not married in our family, and they will try to use such an excuse to deny that lady their inheritance right. And remember, there was nothing to prove you are married, because after the ceremony, no document is issued. So to protect or to avoid such cases, the law now requires registration of customary marriages, and it's mandatory. And now the courts have said that gradually nobody will be recognized to be in a customary marriage until they register their marriage. So once you enter into a customary marriage, please go through the ceremonies, and after that, head to the office of the registrar of marriage, be registered, and be issued with a marriage certificate. So yes, after the customary marriage, you can get a marriage certificate. And as a man, if you marry more than one wife, because customary marriages are potentially polygamous, you are allowed to marry more than one wife. Or you need to ensure any marriage you enter into, get it registered. So you can have more than one marriage certificate, even 3, depending on the number of wives you've married. So those are the 5 types of marriages recognized in Kenyan law: Christian, civil, Islamic, Hindu, and customary marriage.